Beyblade G-Revolution is nuts. When I rewatched Beyblade Series 1 last spring, I was shocked to find that this show from my childhood was weirdly well written, giving its characters way more emotional depth than I picked up on as a kid. When I rewatched V-Force last summer, I was disappointed to see those same characters revert to worse versions of themselves and spend 50 episodes on a pointless journey that was more in line with the glorified toy commercial reputation shows like Beyblade have. But while I dragged my feet through the V-Force rewatch, my commenters kept telling me, wait for G-Revolution, wait for G-Revolution, and having watched 30 episodes of the third Beyblade series, I'm here to report that those people were right. Beyblade G-Revolution is an absurdly good sports anime with the best tournament arc this series has ever seen, and the great character writing of Series 1 back in a big way. G-Revolution is a dream come true for fans of Series 1. It sees the return of all the major competitors in the first World Tournament, gives them more screen time and more dialogue, making them feel more real than ever. It introduces new bladers like Daichi, Hiro, and the F Dynasty crew who earned their place, and it pits the Blade Breakers against each other by having them each play for different teams in the new tournament, meaning the viewer is no longer rooting for just one team to come out on top. We get betrayal, we see underdogs rise to the top, we see Dragon Ball Z style weighted training clothes at some point. All of G-Revolution's many elements come together to make for a series that is doing its best to earn its spot among the great sports anime like Haikyuu, Slam Dunk, Ted Lasso. This is my review of Beyblade G-Revolution's first half. Thank you to anyone who watched my previous Beyblade reviews and has been waiting for this. Before we kick off the review, I'd like to remind you that I wrote and released my own novel, Monster Revolution, heavily inspired by 2000s anime like Digimon, Metabots, Beyblades, and Monster Rancher. I had been writing it in secret while working on this channel, and it's finally out. The reception so far is great, and anyone interested can get their copy as an ebook or a paperback on Amazon, and locals in Canada can even buy it in stores at ANC Games in Toronto. Links will be in the description, including a link to watch my DotMon announcement video where I tell you more about it. Now it's time for G-Revolution. The series kicks off in a post-tournament time of peace. The gang is united from the very first episode, which is important table setting for where the series will go. The art style and fashion has been revamped, whereas V-Force made the cast appear a bit more chibi and almost younger looking. Here it's clear they've aged up. One day, while Tyson is teaching the local kids how to Beyblade, an especially wild child, Daichi, appears and challenges the champ. Tyson takes him on, knocks his Stratadragoon out of the stadium, but Daichi won't acknowledge it as a loss, saying, "Where I come from, absolutely nothing is out of bounds. The world is our stadium." To Daichi, it's not over until one blade stops spinning. Before he can get a rematch, he's interrupted by two shakeups. First is the arrival of a masked blader, Jin of the Gale, who in a few episodes will reveal himself to be Tyson's older brother, Hiro. Second, Mr. Dickinson announces the next Beyblade World Championship tournament. There are two things that make this tournament unique from past seasons and that make for a brilliant tournament arc. For one, the Blade Breakers split up, with Ray, Max, and Kai leaving Japan and returning to the White Tigers, the All-Stars, and the Blitzkrieg Boys respectively. This creates the recipe for a great tournament arc where for the first time in Beyblade history, we're truly rooting for multiple teams to some extent. At this point, we love Ray, we love Max, we want to see these guys excel, and when they square off against characters like Tyson, we have mixed feelings seeing two characters we love on opposite sides of the battlefield with no clear heroes and villains. Second, this new tournament abides by a round-robin format, meaning it's not single elimination like prior seasons. Each of the 6 teams in the competition must play the 5 other teams at least once. So unlike Series 1, where characters like Mariah and the White Tigers were really only relevant for maybe 10 episodes max before we beat them and move on, characters like Lee, Tala, Emily, Mariah are present for the entirety of this storyline. They can lose a match and not be written out, instead getting a shot at redemption a few episodes later in another unique matchup. It's a dream come true for anyone who was a fan of those Series 1 characters and wanted to see more of them. One imperfect element to the series though, Dickinson says that they'll compete using an all-new format, teams of 2. But if you watched V-Force's third act, you'll recall that tournament followed a tag team format. Here is V-Force messing things up as the third series can't decide if Series 2 counts or not. Tyson is devastated to learn that Max, Ray, and later Kai decide not to play for Japan and instead return to their countries of origin to join the American All-Stars, the Chinese White Tigers, and the Russian Blitzkrieg Boys. Ultimately, they all need to prove something to themselves, that they're capable of greatness without Tyson, and they each want to be the one to dethrone the 2-time champ. But there's this fundamental flaw here that neither the sub or dub really confront, and that the audience is expected to just kind of look past. G-Revolution keeps calling Tyson the world champion, like the singular world champion, but in both past tournaments, he was part of a team. In Series 1, he was part of a 4-player team, and it's not even like he was the captain. That was Kai. In the V-Force Championship, he was on a team with Max. It just so happened that in both tournaments he was the last blader to represent his team, Tyson v Tala, Tyson v Zio, but that should not make him the one and only champion. That'd be like declaring the player who scored the final touchdown at the Super Bowl the world champion, instead of acknowledging the winning team as champs. They could have tied it into his ego, like Tyson thinks of himself as the champion and that's why the others left, since they don't feel he respects them as equals, but no, everyone in this series recognizes Tyson as the objective champion, whether it's him, the ex-Blade Breakers, the other teams, the announcers, or the media. This is one of the only problems with G-Revolution. As far as I can tell, it's been a point of confusion since the Series 1 finale, where they declared him the champion then, but it really stands out as extra bizarre in Series 3. In Tyson's hometown, a preliminary tournament is held to decide who will represent Japan in the World Tournament. With Ray and Max out, we have new competitors in the mix, including newcomer Daichi and Kenny. Chief steps up majorly at this point in the story. Kenny wins several rounds, blading in a desperate attempt to uphold the legacy of the Blade Breakers. This was also around the time I noticed that Dizzi, the sassy AI bit beast trapped inside the Chief's laptop, is entirely missing from G-Revolution. She was an English dub creation that never existed in the original Japanese version, but was present all through Series 1 and V-Force. I speculated she was there to inject a female presence into the show's male main cast as a way to help girls feel like they could enjoy Beyblade 2, and maybe with prominent female characters like Hillary and Mariah well established at this point, maybe the English dub writers finally decided to shut Dizzi down. It results in a dub that is more faithful to the source material, but still, it's odd that there was no acknowledgement of her disappearance between seasons. Kenny makes it to the semifinals of Block A, Tyson wins Block A, Kai beats Daichi in the finals of Block B, and a new team is formed. Dickinson and Jin of the Gale, aka Hero Granger, named Tyson and Kai the lead bladers for Japan, with Daichi and Kenny as alternates based on their impressive blading in the preliminaries. This new team is named BBA Revolution. That team of 4 won't last long though, more on that later. Elsewhere, Max and Ray reunite with their old crews. It's deeply cool seeing characters like Michael, Eddie, Lee, and Mariah back 2 years later. It makes the world feel believable, seeing that these characters carried on with their lives and kept improving their craft even after the Series 1 story moved away from them. There are newcomers too, like the PPB All-Stars new blader Rick Anderson, who is Max's partner in the Tag Team Championships. He starts out as a real piece of work who clashes majorly with Max's friendly and peaceful personality. Kai abruptly leaves Japan without telling Tyson, Daichi, or Kenny, forcing Daichi to become Tyson's main partner. With that, we're formally introduced to the 6 teams that'll be competing. Tyson and Daichi for Japan, with Kenny as a backup later. Then representing the USA is Max and Rick as the PPB All-Stars. Representing China, Ray and Lee as White Tiger X. Representing Russia, Kai and Tala as the Blitzkrieg Boys, or Neoborg in Japanese. Representing Spain are newcomers Julia and Raul, who make up F Dynasty. Lastly, having defeated the Majestics in the European preliminaries, the Barthez Battalion represent Europe, featuring a rotating team led by Miguel and managed by the shady Jean-Paul Barthez. There are a couple of training episodes that show each team preparing for the tournament, and without a doubt the best moment from this batch is when Tyson and Daichi go to train in the woods, get caught in a forest fire, and then put out the fire with the power of their Beyblades. In the first match of the tournament, Ray and Lee face off against Tyson and Daichi. This is exactly why the round robin setup rules. In past seasons, we'd have to wait for the finals to get the truly exciting matchup of a tournament, but here in G-Revolution, we get 2 legendary bladers, ex-teammates, and current enemies in the dish against each other right away. But with Daichi and Tyson not yet as tight of a team as Lee and Ray, our main characters lose the very first round of the tournament. Surprising no one, Kai and Tala defeat series newcomers F Dynasty, grabbing a win for the Blitzkrieg Boys, and the Barthez Battalion lose to the All-Stars after Rick injures one of their bladers. We see mass manipulation take place as Coach Barthez instructs his blader to take the hit and not dodge a bit of debris, so that the audience would feel for him and hate the All-Stars. Between the shady way that Barthez manipulates the audience, and with Tyson's team losing their first match, it's clear from the first round that this tournament won't be so straightforward. The next phase takes us to Rome, where we see Robert and Johnny from the Majestics in the stands. It's so cool that even with this Series 1 team not participating, they're still a part of the world of Beyblade. Coach Hiro decides that in light of Tyson's poor performance and attitude against White Tiger X, Tyson is benched for the Rome battle against Kai's team. This leaves Daichi and Kenny to take on the Russians. When Kai realizes Daichi is is his opponent and that Tyson isn't even present, he throws the match. That leaves Kenny to face Tala in match 2. As a reminder, Tala was the final boss of season 1, and here is Kenny standing tall against him. Kenny seriously holds his own, frustrating Tala and making him work for that win. The chief eventually does lose to Tala, but being the team genius, studied Tala's moves during their match to give Daichi a winning strategy in the tiebreaker. The best sequence of the episode for me is Kenny and Daichi collabing, Tyson trying to give unsolicited advice and Daichi going, "Mind your own business, Tyson, we have a game plan." Tyson is witnessing the rest of his team work together like actual teammates, actual equals, not champion and subordinates. After Daichi knocks out Tala with Chief's winning strategy, Tyson apologizes and says he won't underestimate Daichi or Kenny ever again. BBA Revolution gets their first win and Blitzkrieg Boys get their first loss. In the White Tiger vs Barthez Battalion sequence, Lee seems to have these episodes that resemble panic attacks before and during their battle. He also feels like he can't tell anybody, so he bottles up his anxieties until things get out of control mid-match and Ray is forced to call the battle early for his friend's safety. I did not expect Beyblade to explore men's health in sports, but they kinda did exactly that with Lee here. What a surprising and bold direction to take this Series 1 character. Lastly, in Rome, the All-Stars beat F Dynasty, and with 2 wins and 0 losses at this stage in the game, Max and the All-Stars are the first place team. In Spain, for round 3 of the tournament, the All-Stars and the Blitzkrieg Boys go head-to-head. The crowd is booing Rick and Max, remembering how Rick injured a member of the Barthez Battalion earlier in the tournament, but Kai demands their silence, telling the audience, "Show respect for our opponents or else." The Max and Kai dynamic has been a personal favorite of mine, with Kai always showing a soft spot for Max and a respect for his power. Remember, Max was the key to knocking out Black Dronzer when Kai turned to the dark side, and Max was this absolute beast in V-Force. Max has become this incredibly confident and competent blader. His match against Kai is probably the best in the series up until now. Hero looks on and says, "Max has surpassed himself. He is going to be the one to beat in this tournament." We've been focused on Ray and Kai as these two tough guys, but all this time, Max has been quietly becoming one of the greats underneath a carefree exterior. He is ultimately knocked out by Kai, but both parties understand it was very close. Rick screams at his teammate, but Max stands his ground. Quote, "That was one of my best battles. Sure, I'm sorry that I lost, but Kai has beat me fair and square." Not only is Max a total beast, he's completely secure in his fair defeat. He really is the all-star of OG Beyblade. Rick beats Tala, but loses the tiebreaker to Kai, who beats him by using one of Max's techniques, showing one last time the respect Kai has for Max. Imitation is the best form of flattery after all. Now, Kai and Max's teams are tied for first place. Tyson and Daichi go up against the Barthez Battalion in Spain. They've discovered Barthez are playing dirty, but decide not to report them because it would force the Federation to throw out the results of every match thus far and restart the tournament, and they don't want to do that. Tyson and Daichi instead decide they'll just have to beat them no matter what dirty tricks they have planned, and they do. The tournament takes us to Egypt. The outcomes of the matches are really starting to matter now, and we're getting clear pictures of who the frontrunners of this tournament are. Side note, at this point we've had more Tala and more Lee than we did in the original series. It is incredible to me that these characters are afforded more screen time than ever before in the sequel series, and it's all thanks to this brilliant decision to go round robin. The Blitzkrieg Boys defeat the Barthez Battalion. Miguel, the team leader, decides he no longer wants to win by cheating and fires Coach Barthez mid-tournament. The All-Stars and the White Tigers are next up, and Max requests a 2v2 match to try and show Rick that they're a team. The last time Ray and Lee played a 2v2 saw Lee having those panic attacks, but through talking with his teammates about his insecurities, he's in a much better spot. The match devolves into something of a battle royale with Max hitting Rick, Rick hitting back. It's hardly a 2v2, it's just a free-for-all between 4 powerful bladers. Ultimately, Lee wins, which is a nice outcome for his mini anxiety/insecurity arc, with him coming out on top over Rick, Max, and even Ray. F Dynasty secure a win against Tyson and Daichi, surprising just about everyone. Tyson and Daichi weren't playing particularly poorly, but F Dynasty excel as a team and are slowly proving themselves to be more than just this gag team to fill the roster. Raul and Julia are given a solid backstory, and it's entirely reasonable for some G-Revolution fans out there to consider them favorites. We next head to Australia for the 5th leg of the tournament. F Dynasty must play Barthez. Even though the battalion has no chance at making it into the finals, it's a round-robin tournament, and F Dynasty winning could significantly alter their standing. They do just that, winning the round, and suddenly F Dynasty is a top team with 3 wins and 2 losses. Next, the Kai v Ray showdown. The White Tiger members each rip off a part of their sleeve and wrap the fabric around Ray's arm. It's super sweet, very Yu-Gi-Oh coded. They say, "When you feel the pressure, Ray, all you gotta do is look at your arm and we'll be there." It's so nice seeing how far this group has come, how strong they are as a unit, especially after season 1 where they were divided and devastated by Rei's decision to leave them. Rei v Kai is an absolute war, with Coach Hiro commentating, "They've been battling at full throttle since the start. Every hit should have been a killing blow." Kai has this epic Dragon Ball Z weighted training clothes moment, ditching the scarf/cape that I only now realize is very much like Piccolo's weighted training gear. He debuts a new attack he developed in Russia that he was saving for Tyson in the finals, but that Rei forced out of him. The blazing Giga Tempest forces Rei's hair down, just like in Rei's final match of Series 1, but this time, instead of falling back alone, Lee and the White Tiger X team catch him while he's falling. It's a great show of teamwork that prevents this sequence from being a full-on copy-paste of the Season 1 moment, and instead a nice remix/epilogue to that moment. With the win, Kai and Tala are going to the finals. Rei and Lee are eliminated. Although Kai bested Rei, we see in private that Kai is exhausted. It's a massive accomplishment for Rei that he pushed Kai to his physical limit, that he forced that hidden move out of him. Kai was saving that technique for the finals, and now, thanks to Rei, other competitors have seen the technique and have time to study Kai's secret trump card. The next match is between BBA Revolution and the PPB All-Stars. Max's team is in a similar predicament to Rei's, where losing this match will result in their elimination. The Dragon Ball Z comparisons continue, with Max full-on image training like Krillin and Gohan on the way to Planet Namek. In the other change room, Kenny correctly reminds us that Daichi is undefeated when it comes to one-on-ones in this tournament. Sure, he was present for a couple 2v2 losses and was defeated by Kai in the preliminaries, but this kid has not lost a single battle yet. In the first bout, Daichi continues his winning streak, besting Rick and giving the team a 1-0 advantage going into the Tyson v Max showdown. Max gives Tyson a genuine scare, though Dragoon ultimately comes back and wins the battle using Max's own attack. When the match is over, the two bladers finally speak again, not as competitors but as friends. Max says that he's glad a friend of his won, and Rick even lightens up, saying to Max, "If I were you, I'd be very proud to have fought a battle like that." With the Bartez Battalion, All-Stars, and White Tiger X eliminated, 3 teams move on. Kai's team has 4 wins and 1 loss, guaranteeing them a spot in the finals, but BBA Revolution is tied with F Dynasty, the tournament underdogs, with 3 wins and 2 losses. These two teams will face off, and whoever wins will face the Blitzkrieg boys for the finals taking place in Japan. But before their match, we get one of my biggest laughs from these 30-ish episodes, Beyblade's very own jelly donut moment. Max and his parents are eating udon noodles with Kewpie mayo, and the English dub, for whatever reason, decides that mayonnaise needs to be mustard. We hear, "Mustard on your noodles?" And then Max says, "Mustard tastes great on noodles," before the whole family yells, "It's mustard on our noodles from now on." Despite the BBA Revolution's terrible luck with 2-on-2s so far, they request that the F Dynasty match follow this format, even though pairs battles are Raul and Julia's specialty. It's one final chance for Tyson and Daichi to show the world, the audience, and themselves how far they've come as a duo. And after deploying this Ricky Bobby shake and bake style attack, with Daichi's Strata Dragoon launching Tyson's Dragoon towards the enemies, the boys secure a spot in the finals against Kai and Tala. I haven't been able to spend too much time on Raul and Julia in this review, only because there is so much to cover and they are less vital characters in this season, but I was genuinely impressed with their writing in G-Revolution. They had no business being so likable in a season all about returning bladers, and yet they put up a serious fight against every character we already had reasons to root for, and they never felt like villains. Series 1 and 2 had a ton of dud, one-off gag teams, and F Dynasty were not that. With F Dynasty eliminated, only 2 teams remain, Kai's Blitzkrieg boys and Tyson's BBA Revolution. The battle is set to take place on the same day as the F Dynasty match, meaning Tyson and Daichi are scheduled for 2 battles in one day. This is a concern for Coach Hiro and Kenny, who can see their lead bladers are exhausted. Luckily, this battle won't happen until a special last man standing exhibition match is played by all the teams who were eliminated. This exhibition match allows Daichi and Tyson to nap and recharge. Kai wanders off somewhere with Boris and Sergey, while Rei and Max, who are playing in the battle, come to the same conclusion without discussing anything. They are each trying to prolong the exhibition match to give Tyson and Daichi additional time to recharge. It's this excellent showing that despite having gone their separate ways, these guys are still friends and are still supporting Tyson. And then it's time for Daichi to wake up and face Tala. When their battle starts, it becomes clear that like Max and Rei, Daichi is also stalling, making the battle go along so that Tyson can rest up. It's great character work for Daichi, who started off not caring about anyone, certainly not Tyson. Daichi, who had been holding back and playing defensively, gets permission to go all out when he hears Tyson yell, "You can stop stalling, fight with everything you've got." His partner has clearly woken broken up, and Daichi no longer needs to hold in his anger. He goes nuts, slamming Tala's Wolborg with a barrage of hits. Keep in mind, again, Tala was the final antagonist of Series 1, and Daichi, this newcomer, is demonstrating he has the ability to go toe-to-toe with one of the greatest bladers Tyson has ever faced. Daichi is awesome in this battle and makes me wish we got a 4th season for the OG Beyblade. When it's all said and done, the battle ends with a tie. Daichi didn't win, but he didn't lose either, meaning he played this entire tournament without a single loss. Now, with Tyson having had a chance to rest at least a little bit, the final match between Tyson and Kai is about to begin. Kai walks into the arena battered and bruised like he'd just been in a bar fight. We discover that in one of the coolest moments in Kai history, he had Sergey and Boris go 2v1 against him off screen so that he could go into the finals with the same physical exhaustion that Tyson was experiencing having played F Dynasty that day. This is total legend status, such an S-tier anime rival moment. A championship match against Tyson is something Kai has been waiting for since the beginning of Series 1. He played Tyson in a tournament match once in episode 7 of Series 1 before the Blade Breakers were even an official team, and now 2 years later he is getting this second chance. Kai monologues in his mind saying, quote, "When I realized I could never be like you, Tyson, the only thing left for me was to defeat you. Only then would I have complete faith in my own skill and strength. That's why I left the team. That's why I trained with Dronzer in the frozen tundra of Russia." Immersing myself in the storyline here, I'm kind of worried for what'll happen to Kai if he does not win this match. He is emotionally betting it all on winning, and whereas Max and Ray had the support of their teams to fall back on after their losses, Kai is all alone. We don't really see a genuine relationship between Kai and his teammates. They are means to an end for him. Kai may be heading for some kind of ego death if he bets it all on beating Tyson and can't manage to pull it off. So who comes out on top and how does it play out? I'm saving the discussion of the finals for the start of the next video review, G-Revolution Part 2. For now, let me say this about Series 3. Beyblade G-Revolution is a dream come true for fans of the original Beyblade, as well as fans of sports anime and tournament arcs. It almost feels like what I'm watching is a lifelong fan of these characters writing this dream season. There's a case to be made that G-Revolution is the superior season. I'm not sure I can say that yet, seeing as everything great about Series 3 does depend on the great foundation of Series 1, the strong characters, the pre-existing relationships, the sense of confusion and betrayal when the Blade Breakers split, only hitting so hard because we've followed their entire career as a team. G-Revolution makes the majority of battles in V-Force and Series 1 feel superfluous in comparison. I mean, realistically, each wing of the Series 1 tournament had maybe 2 really serious matches, and those would be the finals and semifinals, but the matches leading up to those showdowns rarely mattered. Here, I genuinely think every confrontation in this 6-phase round-robin tournament was meaningful. If I had any real complaint about the G-Revolution round-robin setup, it's that I wish they showed the tournament standings more often. I started taking notes about how many wins and losses each team had for the purpose of this video, and it made following the season significantly more fun knowing each team's exact standings. You'd be forgiven for not fully knowing the rankings in round 2, 3, or 4 of the tournament, for example, if you weren't taking notes. So I wish they showed that to viewers more often. I have 20 more episodes to go after the tournament wraps up, and I truly have no idea where this show is going. I've heard whispers of a character named Brooklyn, but my memory is so hazy I can't remember anything beyond the initial round-robin tournament. Of course, let me know, what did you think about Beyblade G-Revolution? If you watched it as a kid 20 years ago, or if you rewatched it later in life. Subscribe so you don't miss part 2 of this review and other videos discussing Digimon, Metabots, and more. Reminder that my Monster Tamer novel, Monster Revolution, is out now. Links are in the description to get your own copy. I'm super proud of the book and I think you'll love it. I also want to tell you that I launched a Substack newsletter for fans of this channel. You'll get 2 newsletters a month with news about the DigiKnow and DotMon, what I have planned for my next videos, bonus thoughts on the latest videos, new art I've had commissioned for DotMon, or new updates for that series, and it's completely free, by the way. You can go to that site and read every post like a blog if you don't like newsletters, but personally I'm excited about the idea of an old-fashioned newsletter. Thank you for watching this massive Beyblade review. That's the thing about this season, is that every battle counts. I couldn't gloss over these fights, and I had to gush about every powerful character matchup that we're seeing constantly. Thanks again, see you in the next video.